Imani ngichaza. Imani ngichaza.
Discipline.
Hayi mola.
Icala kuthiwa livulwe uColonel Umayile walapha ngathi.
Wala. Sicela ukumbona.
Angakatholi yonke imininingwane imali. Angakayitholi yonke imininingwane nami ukuthi ngiboshelani makuthiwa ngiyaboshwa. Kodwa nginethemba lokuthi ngizokwazi ukuvela enkantolo namhlanje ngoba phela bengivulela icala fanele ngiginqe ithupha bese ngenkantolo. Engakusho nje ukuthi makuwukuthi ukulwela ingane yase South Africa kungibophe ejele ngiready.
Amen.
Engwaziyo imani ke. Imani. Okubalekile ngifisa nikwazi imani. Lalelani bo. Asilaleleni phela. Okubalekile ngicela nikwazi ukuthi makuthiwa ngiyangena lapha phansi ngiyaboshwa. Ningavumi ukuthi bandidetract ukuthi nigcine seninake mina senikhohlwa izingane.
Yebo.
Right? Kebalekile akumina izingane. Mangiboshwa mina qhubekani nina nomsebenzi. Olapha ya eEdington. Esithi khona ayikho ingane yethu efanele ingafundi. Right? Ningavumi ukuthi basebenzise ukuthi bayangibopha ireason yokuthi sikhohlwe lapha ya. Futhi angabe ireason yokuthi ngigcine senisaba nani ukulwela izwe lenu. Ingane zethu zamaphara namhlanje ngoba abazali babo baba ama-cowards abasukumanga balwela izwe labo. Elinye iphara ngesazi ukuthi liyophumaphi mhlambe nawe nengane nje awuyitshela izobe iphara. Iyobe iphara ngoba bayincisha imfundo bathi ayihlale lapha ya. Bayizobe iphara ngoba kulokhu le ndawo lamaphoyisa lawa ala namhlanje. Ngifuna ukuwabuza lamaphoyisa ukuthi njengoba besazongibopha nje ngisazowabuza ukuthi ngoba nibopha mina lama drug dealer agcwele lana ama-drug dealer enwashiya la. Lama drug dealer enwashiya la. Niwabopha nini? Phekwa lokho. Ngoba nibopha mina wemaphoyisa. Ngibuza ukuthi le ndoda yasikhiphela isibhamu nibophile yini? Bikhona la. Nibophile yini yona ngoba nibopha mina? Ngithi mina ngiyolokhu ngishilo ukuthi ngesikhathi sobandlululo amaphoyisa ayesetshenziswa against abantu. Labantu amaphoyisa ethu ase South Africa amanye awo asethengwe abantu bokufika aseyigebengu.
Waiting from here?
Well, first I think we must clarify that Ms. Ngobese Zuma has not been charged as an individual, but the March and March movement has been charged by the state. There's no private individual that has opened the case. It is the state that has opened the case against the March and March movement. And as a leader of the movement, she will then be charged in representing the movement. The MK party has been charged as well. Dudula has been charged by the state as well. The charge is that of public violence. They allege that it happened on the 21st of January 2026 at Eddington Primary School. Basically, indicating that she had incited violence against immigrants. So that's basically the allegations. What they have done is that they're taking the warning statement now. The matter is going to be referred to the NPA for a decision. So if the NPA
Guys, I think we all understand what's going on here. I think we all understand what's going on.
Investigator usahlanganisa amaphepha.
My appeal
Usahlanganisa amaphepha.
we all understand what's going on here, guys. We understand the tactic that's being used. So, in case you don't speak or understand isiZulu, so the March and March movement, and obviously Jacinta being the leader, has had a case opened against them, including MKP, including Dudula, by the South African government. The government of South Africa has opened a case against patriotic South Africans who are exercising their constitutional right to picket and protest. And our government has gone and opened a case against them, stating that they were inciting violence on the 21st of January. Now, all these protests have been caught on multiple cameras from different media houses, including citizens themselves on their cell phones. If Jacinta was inciting violence, it would have been caught on camera and it would have been reported on. This is a fabrication. It does not exist. And the reason that this is being done is to try to slow down patriotic South Africans by pretending as if, or treating them as if they are vigilantes. The violent people were the police, the South African police against the South African citizens. The violent people were the foreigners who pulled out a gun in front of the police and they were not arrested for that. That was inciting violence. But patriotic South Africans exercising their constitutional right to picket and protest against what the government is doing with mass immigration, which is a population replacement. Agenda 2030, look it up. It's happening all over the world at the same time. Mass immigration is not a local problem. It's an international problem where countries and governments are being bullied by globalists who are pushing for a new world order, one world government. And one of the ways they're going to accomplish that is by disenfranchising natives, removing them from their homeland, genociding them, to allow this regime to come in. They're doing it through population replacement, mass immigration, and pretending that immigration is a good thing because it helps the economy. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You cannot say that you're helping the economy by removing native people from their homeland. That's not helping people. In fact, I have to watch my language because I'm also on TikTok now. And you know, censorship is at an all-time high, guys. In case you don't know, in case you don't understand the times that we're living in, I would highly recommend that you go read the book 1984 by George Orwell to get an understanding of the times that we're living in. The WEF in Davos revealed a lot of the globalist plans for the world. And it's a scary, dystopian world and reality that we're living in today. For those of you that support immigration, not even, because it's not about illegal or legal. Government and immigration officers all over the world are so corrupt. They've been bought by globalists and private businesses. They've been captured. And they're allowing for this corruption to take place, for illegal immigrants to be naturalized or legalized through documentation. They're just giving them documents without going through the legal process of attaining citizenship. They're using things like fake asylum seeking, refugee programs, particularly with countries that are not going through any type of war. Countries that should be challenging their governments, but instead are running away to seek greener pastures in countries that have chosen to develop themselves. And what this does is that it demoralizes countries that are developed, because now all that hard work you put in to develop your country, all the taxes you're paying are being given as an inheritance to foreigners, people that are not from your homeland. It's not about legal or illegal. It's about the inheritance that is supposed to be given to your children, that citizens work hard for, to pass down to their kids. They're undermining the works of our ancestors by giving all that progress away to immigrants that have just entered the country and that are immediately being given documents, whether that's an asylum seeker piece of paper or a refugee status piece of paper. These things are being funded by NGOs. They're being funded by the Committee of 300, who are hell-bent on destroying the entire world so that they can centralize power. Once every government around the world collapses, they will be able to centralize power. And I think, from what I'm seeing, that one world government is going to be America and Israel running the whole world. Because if you look at Israel's population growth, they are the only country in the world that is developing at a first world country rate whilst also maintaining high birth rates. Every other first world country is collapsing under, obviously, illegal immigration, 1, and 2, low birth rates. Only Israel is doing well. This is not an accident. If you guys, you refuse to open your eyes because you still think that this thing is about religions and different cultures and different nationalities and countries. Countries are invented, guys. Religions are created. We used to have indigenous cultures, and that was collapsed for the system of countries. So we lost a lot of indigenous cultures, including a lot of indigenous languages and dialects, to give rise to the idea or this concept of countries. And they gave you a nice flag, some colors, and a national anthem to make you feel proud and patriotic to be a part of it. Now they're in the process of collapsing countries, collapsing borders to create continental identities. Now you will be identified according to the continent that you come from, even though the people are not the same. And then once they're done with that, they will collapse the continental identity to give rise to the global identity. And guess what? In this global identity, only the elites will have access. The rest of you will either only be allowed to rent or have subscriptions. What you need to survive will be rationed to you. Yes, that includes water, electricity, food. You will not be able to own anything. The top 1%, the wealthy at the top, irrespective of race, culture, creed, country, will have a full monopoly on everybody's life. You will have no say, you will have no voice, and we will all be heavily censored through AI. They're creating AI robots with the intention of them outnumbering us. Go listen to what Elon Musk said at the World Economic Forum. He said that they want robots to outnumber humans. And they dress it up and say so that humans can use those robots for their everyday tasks. It's a lie. The robots are going to be like security, a military, to control us, to surveil us, and ensure that we stay in line. You people have no idea what's coming. 2026, they've gone full steam ahead because they're a little bit behind with Agenda 2030. The plan is by 2030, we're living in a technocracy, a total world global dictatorship where people have no rights and no say. 2026, they're kicking into action, accelerating, using governments around the world to oppress the people, to force them into accepting these globalist policies and agenda. using NGOs. And if the government doesn't do it, the NGOs send your government to court, which shows you that your government is not running the show. NGOs are functioning like proxy governments, parallel governments, and they have more power and more financing. Your idea of sovereign states and democracy and countries is all a lie. Democracy, all of it, all a lie. The truth is being revealed before your very eyes, whether you choose to wake up to it or not, or whether you accept it or not. A lot of you that are clapping and happy that immigrants are having their way in South Africa, trust me, those same immigrants are going to grape and unalive you and your children. And you immigrants that think you're on top and that you're controlling or colonizing South Africa, you've got another thing coming, because the same government that has oppressed South Africa will oppress you when the time comes. Humans refuse to learn for some reason, and I blame the educational system for making idiots and fools think that they're intelligent. Many of you will learn from experience, and by the time you come to the understanding, it'll be too late. All I can tell you is you within your communities come together, form your own militaries, and resist what your government is doing to you. If it means you get arrested or you die in the process, so be it. But anything is better than what's coming. I'm telling you. You'd rather fight and be unalived in the process of fighting for your freedom than to be docile and allow it to happen. Because what's coming is going to be worse than apartheid. What we are experiencing right now is just an extension of apartheid. It's apartheid 2.0. The same tactics that they used during apartheid to silence the black voice in South Africa is being applied again, but this time under the guise of Pan Africanism. To show you that they are ready to collapse cultural and national or country identities to give way to this continental identity. This is just a stage, it's stage 3. That's why you hear these morons talking about one Africa. They don't know what one Africa actually means. They think Africa will become powerful if we unite. Unite under what though? If you can't fix the problems in your individual country, all you're doing in removing the borders is exporting your problems to the rest of the continent. It'll be anarchy. It'll be absolute chaos. If your government can't run your country, imagine when we remove the borders and we are one Africa as you people want. Your country doesn't have leadership. No African country has actual leadership except the Sahel region. All the other governments are puppets to the globalists. Now, when you say let's remove the borders because we want Africa to be powerful, you have no idea what you're asking for. You're centralizing power in the hands of the most corrupt leaders on the continent. And you think that somehow that will bring economic growth and freedom to you. You people are morons. You're stupid. You're dumb. You have no idea what you're asking for. You should be fighting to decentralize power, to function within your communities autonomously, irrespective of what the government does. But the government won't even let you do that because they know that if you do that and inspire more people to realize they can be fully autonomous and govern themselves, then more people will do it. And it'll become a difficult situation for them to control. Guys, the government in South Africa is not short of military power and it's not short of police, because we see them come out full regalia, ready to attack South Africans whenever we protest. They don't do that to foreigners though. They're sending our military to other countries to go send relief, for example, in Mozambique. But when the Zamazamas attacked 300 families in South Africa, they didn't deploy the military. When the globalists said lock people up in their houses because of COVID, they deployed the military and kept us in our houses. A population of 60 million people were locked up in their houses with curfews, and we couldn't go out. If you did, and the military or police spotted you, they would abuse you physically and verbally. Now you mean to tell me when we're dealing with illegal immigrants, we don't have the police to deal with the drugs? We don't have police and the military to deport these people? All of a sudden we're short on staff and weapons and we don't have ammunition? Absolute BS. You have to stop believing your governments, guys. What's going on in South Africa is Apartheid 2.0. It's a rebranding of Apartheid under the guise of Pan Africanism. And the most painful part about it is that they're using Africans to oppress South Africans. After we fought Apartheid, after we were supposed to inherit our freedom, they opened the borders to bring a new problem. And they've been using these new puppets, forcing them to invade us and infiltrate every sector so they can rule over us and oppress us. And these morons, these Africans that are allowing themselves to be used by the globalists, trust me, their pain and what's coming for them is going to be far worse than anything that they're doing to South Africans right now. All the drugs, the human trafficking, the rape, the kidnappings, organ harvesting is nothing in comparison to what the AI military is going to do to these people. Let them celebrate their short-lived victory now. They've got another thing coming. Leave them alone. Don't even worry about them. You fight individually and, fight in your communities, not individually. Fight in your communities to decentralize power and for your independence in your own communities. Because the concept of countries has completely collapsed, guys. I'm sorry to say it. What we're living in now, you have to protect your community and its people. Start there and gain momentum from there. Because all the capital cities around the entire world have collapsed under immigration. They've been completely taken over. Countries like Nigeria, Zimbabwe have been used by globalists to destroy Africa. And I'm telling you, this is only the beginning. Jacinda getting arrested by the state and MKP and Dudula. The fact that the government can arrest the citizens but ignore drug dealers, ignore traffickers, ignore illegal immigrants, but target South Africans that are fighting for their constitutional rights should show you that even this constitution is a complete farce. The law is a complete farce because it's selectively applied. That should tell you that laws are for stupid people. You that are following the law and trying to do things according to the Constitution, that's exactly what they want you to do. And the only reason you're following it is because of fear. Your own government is not following the law. The police are not following the law. Military not following the law. Criminals not following the law. Only the citizens. And then on top of you following the law, they still conjure up accusations to send you to jail to try to silence us. If you're still believing in this stupid constitution and the stupid laws, then you're a moron because you don't realize what's actually going on. The same people making laws are not following them, but they're telling you if you don't do it, if you don't follow the law, you're a vigilante. You're Zeno. How much longer are we going to allow this to continue? As I'm speaking to you, you're probably thinking about your 9-to-5 job that you were going to the next day, tomorrow. Not understanding that the window for us to shut down the country is getting smaller with each day that we put it off. The country should have been shut down by now. After DJ Warris's assassination, we should have shut down the country, boycotted everything, stopped going to work, shut the entire economy down. But you clever blacks, you're still complying with the very laws that are going to be used to abuse you later. No one is safe. You've got to understand that the world has been divided now into classes. It's the top 1% that sit at the top and the rest of us. The middle class has been wiped out. If you're not the 1%ers at the top, you are a part of the low class, second class citizens that will be abused systematically. Your turn is coming. Your time is coming. Laugh now while you can. I'm telling you, it'll be short-lived because the thing that these people have planned for you. So those that are celebrating Jacinta being arrested, you don't know what's coming for you. You think this government loves you. You think this government is on your side. That just shows you don't actually understand what's going on around you. You're ill-informed. You think you're educated because you went to the schools that the system put together to indoctrinate you, not to teach you how to think. but to indoctrinate you so that you can side with your own oppression and your own oppressors. You people are not smart enough to understand what's actually going on. How this oppression is coming to your doorstep very soon. That's what the educational system has produced. Educated fools that are undiscerning and unable to analyze their environment and make sense of it. You people are still thinking about, oh, my 9-to-5 job, my salary, my investments, my property. Do you not understand that you will own nothing? That is their plan. Go look up Klaus Schwab and their plan for humanity. At the World Economic Forum, they're talking about introducing more vaccines, which means they're going to create another pandemic, another breakout, another disease, another virus will suddenly break out, and vaccines will be compulsory in the same schools where you're sending your foreign children. They're going to force them to get these vaccines. You morons, you stupid people that are celebrating right now. You have no idea what's coming. No idea what's on the way for you, what's in store for you. The window to shut down the country is getting smaller and smaller. And I'm telling you guys, when it shuts and they introduce the surveillance state ran by AI, there will be no way out. If you don't shut down the country today and stop worrying about your 9-to-5 job, stop worrying about, oh, I must study for my university or do this, that, and the third. If you don't shut down South Africa today, that window where you'll have a chance to do so is closing. And I'm telling you, how are you going to fight? By the time you realize what's going on, are you going to try to use your constitutional rights? They're going to send you to prison like they're doing to Jacinta. What, you're going to take up arms? I'm saying just private security alone has more. And you think private security is working for what? For the people? No, they're working for the state to maintain the status quo. It's only people like Kolani that are doing the right thing. And guess what happens to people like that? They get sent to prison. Or DJ Waras, they get assassinated. Listen, I want to tell you guys something. Any political party that's still talking about elections and still campaigning is a part of the system. Understand me and hear me well. Any political party or political leader that's not organizing a shutdown or taking up arms right now as we speak is a part of the system and fooling you into thinking that they're fighting for your democracy and your constitutional rights. None of them have the guts to hit the streets and picket and protest and do what Dudula and March are doing. They'll rather tweet their support, but they're not on the ground showing their support. They use social media to campaign because they want you to believe in the current political system that is rigged. It's rigged. You cannot win through elections, guys. It's an illusion, and it's all for control, because when they rig the elections, you're forced to accept the results because you're like, well, what else can we do? We did things democratically and we lost. That's what they want you to believe while they're rigging the system. You guys don't learn. You know, during apartheid, it's not everybody, it's not all black South Africans that fought against apartheid. It was only a few, a handful. The rest had accepted what the government was doing. And yet again, we see the same thing happening today. Most of you are sitting at home, folding your arms, passively waiting for what? I'm not sure. You're waiting for the government to change its mind. You're waiting for elections in 2029. You people are foolish. The country is gone. Under your watch, under your nose. Your inheritance that your ancestors fought for, gone. You fail to protect it. South African children are sitting at home while foreigners are in school right now. Last year, when Dudula went to public clinics and public hospitals to fight for the rights of South Africans, because South Africans were waiting in line forever to receive treatment. And when they would get there, they would be told there's no treatment for them. Why? Because our medication was being stolen by foreigners. And foreigners were overcrowding our hospitals, abusing them to make sure that South Africans don't get a chance to receive medical help. Now it's our schooling system where South African children are being excluded systematically the same way that apartheid did. to accommodate foreigners. Do you think that this is just? You want to tell me about, oh, but the Constitution says. Apartheid was also constitutional. Apartheid was also the law. Was it just, though? Was it the right thing for the citizens? No, it wasn't. It marginalized people, and it was a systematic genocide, which is exactly what's happening right now. A systematic genocide is being executed on Black South Africans and native South Africans at large, including coloureds. And you guys don't see it. Apartheid never left. It just rebranded itself. And they're using Africans to betray South Africans. So these people that claim to be Pan-Africanists are nothing more than traitors and sellouts. They don't know loyalty and they have no integrity. That's why they don't have the moral fortitude to go fight for their rights in their own country. But they come to South Africa to give us advice about what we should do with our government, while they ran away from their own government. They come here to tell us South Africa has many opportunities that South Africans can't see. But why can't they see opportunities in their own countries? The government is promoting and empowering foreigners, and foreigners have the goal to think that they're achieving what they're achieving in South Africa on their own merit. They don't realize how the state is behind everything in an attempt to replace native South Africans. And when they're done with native South Africans, guess what, foreigners? They're going to deal with you in a more brutal way. South African kids are sitting at home with no space to go to school, no places in their school. This is them here. These are South African kids. No school for them. When you look at this picture, when you look at South Africa, then you're just a moron. You're just stupid, if that's what you really believe. At the hands of this merciless system. Your government is a terrorist organization. Understand it. And if they can arrest Jacinta, they will arrest many more of you for fighting for your human rights.
Guys, I'm recording this video with absolute sadness in my heart at what I saw today. Today, when we went to Addington Primary School in the morning, the South African kids were making their way walking to the beach because they've got nothing else to do since they don't go to school. We had to call them back because it's not safe for them to walk to the beach. Foreign nationals have their kids in school, in Addington School, in numbers. I'm talking 2 or 3, one parent with 3 children, one parent with 2 or 4 children. It's a sight that I think all these clever blacks, man, I wish they can come there and see for themselves exactly what we're talking about when we talk about how painful the situation this is. Guys, South African children are not getting an education. Ingane ayifundi njengamanje. Sizibona ekuseni zihamba ziya ebeach zithi ziyobhukuda ngoba yikho enye into ezizoyenza ngoba azifundi. Esikoleni abakwazi ukusuka ngeenyawo kusona baye esikoleni, but they couldn't do that because the school is apparently full. And the department has allocated them ukuthi baye eGreyville, which their parents cannot afford, and they've said this over and over again. So the kids were at the beach, and foreign nationals' children are in full uniform going to school. I don't know if you understand what this means for the future of this country. Now think about this South African child walking around Epoint, of all places. Walking around because they are idle. They've got nothing else to do. This is when they get approached by drug dealers of all sorts who put them into drugs to either buy or to use. This is how a society gets destroyed, because you take away a right to education from a child and you give it to a foreign national who you have no allegiance to, and you have nothing that prompts you to give them a public school education. If they want to get an education in South Africa, there are private schools. But we have to keep reiterating this, because they will tell you that it's the Constitution. The Constitution makes it clear that you provide what you have that is within your means as a government. If you don't have, you don't provide. And this is a part of the Constitution that people deliberately want to ignore. There's no constitution in the world that can envision that you'd want to provide everything to everyone, even if you don't have it, at the expense of a South African child. But we've got a government and politicians that are tone deaf, that would rather a South African child be exposed to drugs, than for you to take those children and put them in school. If you think Greyville is such an amazing option, why are you not taking children of foreign nationals to be the ones that spend money to go to school every day instead of walking to school like they always do? Guys, we've got a serious leadership problem in this country, and it is a crisis. Because if South African children do not get an education, and we keep opening ourselves up to every single person, trying to please every single one, because we're going to hide behind a constitution, then our problems are going to get worse. Because these children are getting an education in South Africa for what? Obviously because to stay here, to get jobs here. And the South African children who are not getting a place in schools, what is going to happen to them? What happens to their future? What happens to the future of a South African child who does not get an education? Then you're busy telling us about refugees and asylum seekers. Those same refugees and asylum seekers that no provision is made for. There's no money that comes for the United Nations that goes to them getting free access to our public schools. If they have organizations or Somali Banbani or Bani Banbani that they're supposed to be getting that money from, so they can take their children to private education and private facilities. But we keep on being told that we are xenophobic at the expense of a South African child that must spend the day at the beach instead of getting an education. It's the 3rd week of school now. And you guys want to dilly-dally around the issue because you want to sound politically correct, and you want to sound like you don't have hatred. You want to sound like you are loving and Africanist and Pan Africanist and whatever, at the expense of who? You had your chance to go to school. What about these children that don't have a school to go to right now? What must they do? Guys, no, it's enough. It's time for us now to stand up for the South African child. And if I know a lot of you are wanting to make it seem like this thing is for people who are abnormal in the head, or there's a lot of educated people who come to those pickets because they understand the importance of education. So don't act like you are too educated, too clean to come and stand up for a South African child, because one day it might be your child. We've got parents whose children are addicted to drugs, so they took them to the best schools, who took them to the most Model C, most expensive schools, but today they are hooked on drugs. And it all starts like this. It starts with the society that does not know how to prioritize its people, that does not know how to have laws that are enforced correctly. All the time we think about, human rights, at the expense of who? Those people that are busy putting drugs on the streets, do they think about the human rights of South Africans? Those people that are busy putting their children instead of our own, do they think of the human rights of our South African children? Nah. Guys, you need to take this seriously. Tomorrow we're back at Addington because we're going to fight until South African children get access to school. We can't have children going to the beach instead of going to get an education. No, 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 no. This is not going to happen. You can call us whatever names you want to call us. You can label us. You can call us vigilante groups. You can say whatever you want. But for a South African child, you did this with South Africans in the healthcare sector. You said we must compromise ourselves and we must die in hospitals. But now you want our children as well to also not get an education. Aye, guys, no. Call us whatever you like. Call us what you like. At the end of the day, South African children deserve a right to an education. And we must be prioritized in our own country. It's not an option. It's not an option. We're not going to tell us about the Constitution. If you are not building schools, if you are the ones that all this time don't have access to education, take that money from the United Nations. They must build their own schools wherever they want to build schools from. They're getting money from the United Nations. That money doesn't come to us. Where do you think we're going to get the resources to educate our children? No, 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 no. No, 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 no.